And welcome back to the Cape League All-Star Game in Wareham. It's great to have you with us on Nesson. I'm John Perel, and this man that I'm standing next to needs no introduction. His name is John Harrington, the chairman of the board from the Yawkey Foundation, of course, a longtime Red Sox owner as well. John, great to see you. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, God willing. Yeah, you got me here.
We did get you here. It's good to have you here. You're a big-time presence at the Cape League, and the Yawkey Foundation has had such a great association with Cape League baseball.
Yes, we a long, 3-4 decades. Starting with Jean Yawkey way back, I think we have 35, 36 years of relationship.
Amazing.
When we heard there was a problem with wooden bats in the Cape League, and we said, well, let's see if we can support them to keep wooden bats in baseball. So it started with a simple thing like that.
I think it has been a good relationship since 35 years ago, and you do go to many Falmouth games as Brennan Oxford's the new pitcher from Brewster. He's from Wake Forest as the parade of relievers continues after a run last inning, and Cole McConnell leads off. And what's it like coming to the Falmouth games like you usually do?
Well, I love going, particularly we go with grandkids and we sit on the side of a hill. We don't sit in any privileged seats. We sit there with the common folk and root and cheer. It's so wonderful to be there.
I couldn't see you sitting anyplace else.
Thank you.
You don't want to be in a skybox, do you?
Right, none of that. We had 30 years of that, you know.
Right.
So that's what I have to explain is I'd rather sit with the people, the fans.
That's boxed around at shortstop for an error, as that ball should have been scooped up, but to no avail as the runner reaches to start the bottom of the third inning. True hops at these fields, John, and some not so true hops, and that one wasn't a true one at shortstop. But one thing about the Cape League, the fields have come a long way since you started 35 years ago with the league. Fields, the stadiums, the facilities, the support from each town. That must be a pleasant development for you.
Immensely. And Chuck Sturdivant, the icon from the Falmouth Commodores, was here. And after all his years of coaching, managing at Falmouth, he's so impressed with the new Falmouth field and whatever. So he has seen 25, 30 years of changes, and he has a big league ballpark now.
He does, and we were there a couple weeks ago, and they certainly have done a terrific job. As the runner takes off, McConnell has stolen a base, got a great jump, and he is now in scoring position. Brennan Oxford on the mound. And take another look at this one. Fastball outside. Good pitch for Schliger to throw on, but the tag was too late by DeMartini. And John, it's one thing about the Cape League. You always talk about the wood bats. We always talk about it. It's a tough adjustment. It's very difficult. And using the metal bat, much different than using the wood.
Oh, enormously. I can remember years ago when we brought the Boston College baseball team down to play in Fort Myers against the Red Sox.
Yep.
And they were out there taking batting practice with metal bats. And I forget which one of our pitchers just said, Mr. Harrington, I'm not going out on the mound. They have to use wooden bats. So we had to convince all of the Boston College baseball players to pick up wooden bats. The Red Sox brought them over and said, go for it.
Go for it.
But, you know, it's kind of terrifying if you're not pitching regularly against a wooden bat, a metal bat hitter.
I can't imagine the terror that.
Well, we
maybe
saw
strike Roger Clemens.
Right.
I bet you it was Clemens.
Yeah, probably.
It probably was. Hey, his son's now in the major leagues. Just got sent down to AAA. But
yeah, that's too bad. Good man. We loved him.
Yeah, you had so many good runs with the Red Sox. We were talking before the game about Joe Morgan and Morgan Magic, and Red Sox winning 19 out of 20. Of course, much like yourself, a proud BC grad. Joe's still in Walpole, doing well at 91 years old. But that year, do you remember, are there certain years that you remember better than others?
Well, how do you forget the magic? I mean, it just lives in us all the time, particularly when we get even just a 6 or 7 game win streak. We start getting our hopes up, if you will.
Right.
Oh, it was so good. I mean, it was really magic the way Joe took over and won the clubhouse over and got those players playing at the peak. Yeah, great memories.
Are you one of those guys that when something about 1986 comes on, do you turn it off or do you watch?
We watch. It's painful, but when you know it's coming. But listen, it's always worth getting there, right?
You know what? That team was loaded. It was just a couple bad bounces, literally and figuratively. But one of the best games I've ever seen, I'm sure you would agree, is the Game 5 in Anaheim against the Angels, which to this day is still shown on Baseball Network many times as Matt Shaw draws the walk. That game was a clinic in baseball.
And we had a lead. Oh, my God, in that seventh game. Oh, well, I'm not going to cry over spilt milk. It was just good to be there.
It was. The late Dave Henderson was such a lightning rod in that whole postseason.
Yeah. But, one thing about this Cape League is it's a joy to look at the roster of a visiting club and say, hey, that kid played down there in Harwich or Katuitt or whatever. So many of them make it up there and do well in the majors.
362 players, John, right now currently in Major League Baseball play in the Cape League.
Yeah. And so it's such a terrific league, and any good baseball player wants to spend a season on the Cape. And a lot of it's because the fans really support the teams. They come out there. I mean, it's a multi-generational thing where the grandparents and parents and kids all go out at night to watch a team, and they support it in many ways. So it's a terrific league.
Why wouldn't you want to play on the Cape? That's my question.
Right.
They give you a job. You live with a host family. You go to the park. You take some batting practice. You increase your pro prospect. You go home.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad summer job.
Well, so now you know why we support it. I mean, it's baseball. And Tom and Jean Yawkey, needless to say, had a priority for supporting amateur and athletic baseball all around. And so it's natural for us to continue on with that legacy.
What's the new frontier for the Yawkey Foundation?
Well, we're doing a lot of good work besides baseball and amateur sports. We just gave $15 million to the Pine Street Inn to help them start a new program for developing housing.
No kidding.
For the homeless people, not shelters, but housing. To have them adapt to housing and taking care of themselves in a small apartment. And so it's quite a transition, and they're doing that. We just gave some money to the Franciscan Hospital because of the crises in adolescent mental health and whatever. And so it's just fun, enjoyable for us trustees of the Yawkey Foundation to be involved in endeavors like that.
Most definitely, and quite honorable on the Yawkey Foundation's part on both those charities. Another steal by McConnell, so he's at third after the strikeout. Expect a close game tonight, John. Could be a pitcher's duel.
Well, it's almost like the Major League Baseball All-Star game earlier this week.
Good point.
Low-scoring games.
Are you a fan of what they've done with baseball, trying to?
No, I don't look like the new style, okay, the home runs and strikeouts.
No.
I'm an old action guy.
Yep.
Get the bat on the ball and move the runner along,
Wade Boggs.
Oh, my God. He's in the Hall of Fame. I'm hoping he's up there in Cooperstown this weekend.
What did you think when he went to the Yankees? Did that hurt?
Oh, it always hurt. Yes, yeah, it always hurts. Just like when we get a player from the Yankees. I would hear from George Steinbrenner.
Would Steinbrenner call you often?
No, but I'd see him a couple of times a year. He'd come to Boston for the games.
Yep.
And have to watch the game with him, which was always difficult.
That must have been an experience.
Well, yeah.
The shot takes off for second on the defensive indifference. But runners at second and third. What a character.
Yeah, he was a character, but a good man, basically. He was a charitable
he was very
guy.
charitable.
Yeah, but he was just tough to work for and with.
You know, it's funny, whenever we had which still is ongoing and coming up on Nesson next month, is the Jimmy Fund radio telethon with WEEI and Nesson. George Steinbrenner would always make a big donation.
Sure. That would be George. Him.
It's popped up. shallow right field, and that will do it. Runners left in scoring position. John Harrington, a pleasure as always. Continued success.
Thank you.
The Yawkey Foundation. We're back with more after this from the All-Star Game.